Hey you guys, welcome back. The moment is finally here. In this video, I'm gonna be putting on my spacers and my new Lobster 19-inch rims. Wait, got to address one thing. I got a comment the other day on the channel, hilarious, by some guy saying, hey, Australian Elon Musk, the owner of Tesla, I guess, can we have a little less face and a little more car? Well, is that enough face for you? Is that enough face for you? I was giggling so much when I saw that comment online the other day. I mean, just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Keep it coming. All right, let's get this hub on. Less face, more car. Hey guys, so this video has been a long time coming. I started this journey of swapping out the rims on my car. I think it was back in late November, just after Thanksgiving. I took a road trip to St. Louis, Missouri, I think it is. It's somewhere in the Midwest. My American geography, still not great. It was about an 8 or 9 hour drive, but I found a great deal on eBay. $150 a wheel, so $600 total for these OEM 19-inch Lobsters. They were sitting in some guy's barn. He'd taken them off a while ago as he was putting together his own 997 and speccing out the way he wanted. They weren't in the best condition, but they were a steal. 600 bucks, yes, got them. Drove them back, and then along comes January, and the new year begins, and I start getting busy again. But I found a place called Adrenaline Customs in the northeast part of the Twin Cities, White Bear Lake. I'd actually seen them, I believe, at the auto show the year before, and was really impressed with their stuff. So for another 150 bucks a wheel, they powder coated the rims. And they are a beautiful color of platinum satin, or satin platinum, whichever. Check it out. I really, really like how they look. Now, some of you Porsche 997 fans out there might be thinking to yourself, hey, they look just like Michael Bath's rims in Australia. You would be right. If you haven't seen Michael Bath's channel and you haven't seen his rims and you're a 997 fan, you're crazy. Go check it out right away. Michael took off, I believe there were Tech Arts that were on his 997 originally, picked up the Lobsters, got a company in the UK to finish them for him in the OEM Porsche color, and they look absolutely fantastic. I saw them, honestly, that got me onto the Lobster rims, and that got me thinking I wanted to do something like this for my car. But before I went ahead and did it, I actually contacted Michael and I was like, hey mate, would you be horribly offended if I take basically your style? Hashtag Michael Bath style. We need to start that new hashtag, friends. And he was like, no, absolutely not. That's very flattering, whatever, go for it. So big thumbs up from Michael. Totally ripping his style, but I think it'll go well with my car, and it looks amazing on his. Now, Michael has a silver lip around his that tie in with his silver 997. I didn't do that for mine. So they're just plain old satinum. I've said that so many times today. Satinum is basically the new platinum satin, or satin platinum. So forgive me if I keep saying that. But this color isn't quite OEM Porsche. I didn't realize this, but with powder coating, they couldn't quite get the exact color. Like you can match paint, it was very difficult for them to match with the powder coating. So we went through about 100 different swatches of silvers and darker colors and gunmetals, and we landed on this one, and I think it's gonna look really great on the wheels. But unfortunately, that meant that I also had to get the center caps painted. The platinum satin Porsche center caps that I bought from Suncoast. didn't quite match. So they're definitely not the same color as Michael's, even though they are close. So Lemaitrie's, I've been to a couple of times now, the guys who did the wing on my car and the decals, for 50 bucks, a center cap, so we're now adding on to the cost, but 50 bucks per center cap. They match the color perfectly. They masked off the logo, the crest, and they got them painted. So I picked up the center caps yesterday. I picked up the rims earlier this week, and then the last thing with the tires themselves. And so from Discount Tire in the Twin Cities, there are a bunch of locations all over the place. I picked up some Michelin Pilot Sports, the 4S's, not to be confused with the Carrera 4S. But I think they look really, really great, and I can't wait to get them on the car. So yeah, Michelin Pilot Sport 4S. They're all season, they're not just summer tires. Not that I drive my car in the winter anyway, but I thought even if we start heading out in the spring and it's still cold out with a little bit of ice on the road like there was last year, I didn't want to run summer tires. And I've already got way too many tires in my garage between my SUVs and those summer tires and winter tires. So I just wanted all season tires. Anyway, in this video, I'm gonna not only be installing these rims, I'm gonna have a go at installing spacers. Never done it before. A lot of people out there have been suggesting that I do it. So I've got a couple of hours. I'm gonna, just on one side of the car to start with, I'm gonna put the rims on and we're gonna see what it looks like without spacers. And then I'm gonna take them off and put the spacers on. Oh, actually maybe I'll put wheels on one side and wheels and spacers on the other, and maybe that can give us a decent comparison. I'll see how much time we've got, but I definitely wanna see what they look like without. I'm honestly not 100% convinced about the spacers. I think they look great on cars, but I don't know, it's like an extra piece of metal in between the wheel and the hub, and are they 100% safe? Mixed opinion online, I don't know. I'm sure they're just fine, and it's me just being a wuss, but we'll figure it out. Anyway, let's get to it. Stay tuned, and then at the very end, we'll do the reveal. I'm really excited. I just, hope everything goes well. Right, let's take a look at what I'm gonna be using next. So what do we need for the job? Unlike last time, when I lost my key somewhere in the garage, that key is staying there, and it's not moving. And I don't have a spare key, so I better get one. I have my torque wrenches, I have my breaker bar, I have my lug nut jobby, whatever it's called, the Dubry, with its plastic edging so it doesn't scratch the rims. I've got my finder helper, whatever that's called, to help me get the rims on without them falling off. Now here are the spacers. For the rear, and I bought both of these from Suncoast Parts. I have 15mm spacers on the back, and I have 7mm spacers on the front. There's been a lot of backwards and forwards with other 997 friends and people who have spacers that say, I might as well put 15s on the front as well as the back. I've seen a couple of photos of the 7 and 15 setup, so that's where I wanted to start. And also, these came as a pack from Suncoast, specifically for the 997. So as opposed to buying them separately and it would have cost more, I actually just bought these together. And then with them, because of the color of the rims and also the fact that I'm putting, more metal basically between the wheel and the hub, I have different bolts. So on the rear, I've got 45mm black bolts. And on the front, I've got 37mm black bolts, and then my wonderful magnetic husky plate so nothing gets lost. And black and silver and platinum all on this floor is just a recipe for disaster, especially with screws. I've already dropped a few and lost them forever. So that is hopefully gonna come in handy. So I've got the spacers, I've got my wrenches, I've got the socket, whatever that's called. And then finally, my trusty Goodyear 120 volt multi-purpose inflator, which I got from Amazon for about $100 5 years ago. And it is just working like a treat. I use it on my SUVs, the Porsche, up and down. It's really cost effective, super easy to use. And for the amateurs out there like me, you don't really need anything else. It also, in the Minnesota winter, saves you from standing outside in the frickin' freezing winter, trying to, level your tires. All right, so let's get them on. I'm pretty excited. I can't wait to see what it looks like, so let's get cracking. The other tool I'm going to be using, these are heavy-duty wheel blocks. So I'm going to take the wheels up at the front, put them behind, and then vice versa. Now, I don't have the jack stands I had last time. I borrowed those from a friend of mine. So I'm just using the jack. It's not ideal, and a lot of people won't actually work with wheels by just using a jack. So at this point, I would say go with what you're comfortable with. If you do have the jack stands, absolutely use those. There's always a slight risk that these jacks are going to fail. I'm going to stay well away from the car, and if it does happen, it happens, but I'm comfortable working like this. So for me, I'm personally fine doing it this way. So these first two wheels, I'm just going to put on without the spacers, and then the other side will put the spacers on. Let's not wait for the rest of the job. Let's take a quick look now. What do you guys think? I really like how that looks. It's like a completely different car already, and we've only got one wheel on. I was worried that I might have to take off the decal because the colors might not line up. So I'd be interested in knowing what you think there, but I really like how we've got the gray of the decal and the yellow Porsche with the gray, if you will, of the wheel and the yellow caliper. I think that ties in beautifully. I could be wrong though once we get all four on. But what a starting point. Now actually, I just noticed there, as I go past the edge of the car, you see the wheels without the spacers are almost on the inside of the wheel arch. I mean, they're pretty flush. I'm going to be really interested to see what it looks like with the spacers. So there we go. And then the other side, of course, I've still got to do. But, you know, sort of 5-10 minutes into the job, and I'm like just salivating. I can't wait to see what the rest of this, the rest of the car looks like once they're all on. So, all right, enough of me talking. Let's get the other wheel on. So there is the first side done, guys. How'd you like it? Besides just realizing that the side of the car is a little dirty, I think these look really good. Yeah, I really like the finish, the color. But now I'm looking at how the wheels are sitting in the wheel arches now that I've got the 19s on. Maybe my cynicism about the spacers was wrong. I think the spacers might look good. But oh, here we go, my door's open as well, isn't it? Oh, lovely steering wheel. No knife in the front of it. Yeah, all right. Now, on the other side, it's time to get the spacers on. So I know that I've got some hardware for each of the spacers. Let me show you. 911 Cool, everybody. If you haven't checked out the YouTube channel, please do. All right, yeah, we just have a couple of screws here, Phillips head, that go into the spacer wherever the screws are to keep them in place. Given where I've decided to put the tires, I'm gonna put the rear tire on first and then move to the front, and then we'll do a before and after. And for those, actually I've got two things to point out. One is, for any of the Porsche freaks out there that know about this, apparently you're in the know if your Porsche crest points to where the valve is. And so I made extra sure that on my wheels, that the bottom of the Porsche crest is pointing directly at my valve stem. Some of you might be like, wait, what? Who cares? Well, I decided to pander to the Porsche geeks, because I am a Porsche geek. You see here again, the crest is pointing directly. Well, actually that one's a little off. I might need to fix that one to the valve stem. All right, let's get the spacers on. Before and after. Oh, the second thing I was going to mention was, you might have noticed that I didn't torque the wheels. They're just hand tightened for now, and that's because I'm going to be taking them off again in a second to put the other spacers on, but I will be torquing these guys correctly. Right, let's get on it. Hot work. Okay, so now I'm going to put the spacer on, and I'll show you closer in a second. There are two holes on the hub where the Phillips head screwdrivers go in to fix. Now, there is a debate online, from what I understand, of whether or not to put anti-seize between, or whatever lubricant, anti-seize between the hub and the spacer. A lot of guys that I know that track their cars, and one guy in particular who is the Porsche god, has said that he never does it. He doesn't want anything like that in the wheel where it gets really hot going anywhere near the brakes. And chances are, once I put the spacers on, I'm never going to want to take them off. And if I do, and I've seen wheels and I've seen rotors that are really on, and with a mallet and a little bit of, sweat and a few bangs, it's going to come off. I'm not going to put the anti-seize on there. What I am going to do is blast it with a little bit of brake clean, and take my wire brush to it, just to get rid of any debris that might be there. So I've got as clean a finish as possible between the inside lip of the spacer and the hub. Is it the hub? Is it the rotor? Whatever. The hub is on the rotor, and then the rotor is on the spacer. Did I tell anybody I'm an amateur, by the way? All right, let's get this on. And you know what I just realized? I've broken my rubber glove rule, and that's because since finishing my garage, I've lost a bunch of stuff, and the rubber gloves were one of them, so I am filthy auto amateur today. And it's going anywhere because I'm starting to sweat like a bugger. All right, let's get it cleaned. Let's get the spacer on. Trying really hard then
not to actually get it on the brake itself, which is why I was doing those little baby squirts. The other thing is that this stuff kind of disappears and evaporates so quickly. It's going to be out of the way. There doesn't actually look to be too much debris on there anyway, which is good. Okay, so with my trusty impact screwdriver, I've been able to take out the smaller Phillips head screw that was in the rotor, and now I've got the slightly longer screw that's going to go through and hold the spacer to the hub. Okay.
If I do ever want to change the rotors, I am going to need to take the spacers off. So they're being held in place by the two screws that go into the rotor to hold the rotor onto the hub. I thought they were going to be two separate screw holes, but they're not, and I've just checked, and this seems to be the approach. Once I've done this, I'm going to have to go and double check with the Porsche dealership to make sure that I'm not doing something silly. Thankfully, I don't need to drive the car for a while, but from what I've just done and seen online real quick, I think this is the way to do it. So if you're doing this, double check. But the spacers fit perfectly using the two screw holes that do hold the rotor to the hub. And the screws that have been provided are exactly the same, they're just slightly longer. So that kind of makes sense to me. Again, don't quote me, not an expert. At least we'll know what they look like with the wheels on, but I'm gonna need to double check that before I drive this, of course. All right, let's get the other screw on and then we'll get the wheel on. Okay, now to torque the lug nuts. My manual says that it's 96 foot-pound. Online, a lot of people do it to 100. In fact, some dealers, I believe, have recommended doing even a little tighter now. I'm gonna stick with 100. That's what I'm comfortable with. But do your own research and ask the dealer. I'm gonna just torque this now to 100. Okay, one more wheel to go and then we can do the comparison. Whew. Okay guys, all four wheels are on. That's two. All four wheels are on, and we've got the spacers on the driver's side, we've got regular on the other side. So let's go take a look and see if we can notice any difference. I think I can, but you guys are gonna have to let me know what you think. All right, let's check it out. Okay, so here's the side with the spacers. And they're sitting proudly right on the edge of the body. I think that looks really cool. Yeah, they just sort of sit exactly flush with the body. 7 millimeters at the front, 15 at the back. All right, so there is with, and then on the other side, without. Yeah, there's definitely a difference. Like on the rear wheel arch there, the space looks a little more pronounced. Oops, bang the camera. So there's without, and then here's with. Yeah, can you see the gap from this perspective is different? The wheel is perfectly flush there. And then on the other side, you can see a bigger gap. I didn't think it was going to close that gap. Let's take a look at the side view. So these are the wheels without the spacers. We go to the other side. Can't get quite the same angle, but there are the wheels with. I don't think, you can't, or at least I can't tell the difference very much looking at the side. As cool as the wheels look. I'm gonna have to put these pictures side by side, I think, and see if I can tell a difference. Either way though, I really like how the wheels look. So now I've got to go back to the passenger side, take off the wheels, put the spacers on, and then we're all done. Finished product. So that's it, the wheels are on. I think they look so cool. I'm really happy with them. Now, once the snow goes away, and certainly before we do the road trip to Tail of the Dragon, which is, probably a 2,500 mile round trip, I'm gonna take it into Porsche Minneapolis. I'm gonna get them to do the alignment and just double check the spacers and make sure that everything is tip top before I go on such a long road trip. But let's do a quick walk around. I'm so impressed. I'd love to know what you guys think. As I said before, I didn't think I was gonna necessarily like the spacers, but I think they look fantastic. I really like how they look. Really flush with the edge of the car. And this is the narrow body, of course. This isn't the wide body. But still, the 997's rear end has a little bit more, I think, oomph than the 996. And without the wide body, I still think it looks really good. I'm so happy with how this looks. So I think the satin ties in nicely with the car. I'm just gonna sit here and appreciate that view for a second. Yeah, I think it all goes together really nicely. Whew. Back aching, hands dirty, a little bit sweaty, but that's all good. Yeah, I really wasn't sure what they were gonna look like until they went on, and now it's there. I really like it. So that's it for another episode of Auto Amateur. What's next? What could I possibly do? This transformation arguably could have been done in a couple of weeks if pros had been at it, and I've now been doing it for the best part of a year. But it's been a real labor of love. In fact, less face of Elon Musk, Australian. Actually, wait, I am not Australian, all right? I'm British. No, I love Australia, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Got to get past it. Yeah, so this has taken me about a year. First I did the front bumper, then I did the rear spoiler, and I did the decals, and then the wheels, and then the steering wheel, not quite in that order. Yeah, what else could I possibly do? Well, some of you have had some pretty cool suggestions. So one is to lower the car and maybe to do coilovers or lowering springs. And I've certainly got a couple of friends who have got those set up on their 997, and I think they look really good. I don't know how low I want to go. Maybe you guys have got some suggestions. I think it sits like perfectly, frankly, right now. I really like how it sits. I don't think it needs to go down any lower, but you know, maybe I could just check it out and see what it looks like, and if I don't like it, then sell the hardware. The other thing I've been thinking about doing is taking off the decals. I'm going to leave with them and just, you know, stick with them maybe for one more season. But at some point, I just want to go full Darth Vader and just have the black look with the satin platinum, whatever that's called, finish on the wheels. But yeah, the springs. Oh, that's the other thing. I want to get the Fister exhaust ordered and on the way. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the core replacement. I'm not 100% confident that I can take them off and ship them back, blah, blah, blah. Might get a shop to do that job, certainly because it means going under the car. But I think that would be the perfect finish for this 997 transformation, to give it that, you know, really nice sort of growl. So that's it for another episode. Check me out on Instagram. I'm at also.amateur. I hope you like the video. Let me know what you think about the wheels, and I'll see you very soon in the next videos. Thanks so much. Bye.